Hi, so this is my ICOM 495 3/4 presentation. So during this presentation, I'm going to talk about what I'm doing for my project, how I've developed my project so far, and the results that I've collected so far. So for this project, I wanted to focus on the use of mobile apps in museums. Smartphone apps created for museums are a really big growing trend that museum professionals are trying to understand better. And a better understanding of app design can erase some of the barriers to making good digital content for museums. So for my project this semester, I've been conducting a case study to evaluate existing mobile museum apps. During this study, I'm conducting user tests that will focus on evaluating the effectiveness of app design in comparison to the other apps being tested. And from these user tests, I will get feedback about what users like to see in app design and what they think makes a design easy and enjoyable to use. So the audience for my case study includes the persons and groups I will use as usability testers. And since the demographic that largely uses smartphones is in their late teens and early 20s, these are the people that I have been focusing on. So the demographic that I'm pulling testers from are Ball State University students between the ages of 19 and 25, and there are a number of clubs and groups on campus that I've been pulling testers from. So the central goals of this case study is to evaluate the usability of 3 museum mobile apps, to evaluate the design of these 3 mobile apps, and to develop a list of some of the best design principles and features included in these apps based on the feedback that I get from user tests. So the requirements for this study is to choose 3 museum mobile apps to evaluate. And all of the apps will have similar features so that they can be more easily compared. And then I'm going to I am conducting face-to-face interviews with at least 10 users about each app. During these interviews, I have a survey form that I will fill out with their feedback. Also on this form, I am acquiring data on tester demographics, so age, occupation and/or major, and especially whether or not they've used museum mobile apps before. And I will use the feedback data that I get to evaluate which central design features and principles users value the most in these museum apps. So the apps that I have decided to study are the American Museum of Natural History's Explorer app, the Independence National Historic Park Independence app, based in Philadelphia, and the Cleveland Museum of Art's Art Lens app. Each of these apps represent very different kinds of sites and museums. They also offer a variety of design elements, but they also offer a number of similar features. For example, they both offer tours and they both offer a map function. So the next step in my process of creating this case study was to decide on what methodology I wanted to try and use to gather data about these apps for my study. And I went through 3 different steps and inquiries to determine what course I should take. So my first inquiry was to decide the best survey methodology. The second one was to determine the best kinds of questions to ask, and the third one was to make a final test that would yield to my desired outcomes, which I have listed here. So my first step was to decide on a methodology, and I decided through some interviews and asking around different people that a personal interview face-to-face would probably be best to get me good feedback. And the second inquiry that I did was to build a survey or a test survey that was to evaluate very specific things in each app, and the central things that they evaluated were based on design heuristics. And this survey yielded some interesting results, but not really the data that I needed to answer my central questions, or my central outcomes. Um, and these tests were not comparative and would not guide testers to give me the information that I really needed. So my final survey is more in line with these intended outcomes that I just showed. It is designed to yield better results because testers now have a way to really judge design and function by being able to compare 3 different apps during the test. So they do test for design of mobile apps by having people kind of talk about their first impression of the design. Um, the it tests for usability by having testers use the common functions in each app and rank them. And at the end, it has people rank their top 3 design features and also rank which app overall they prefer. So this is the survey that I built on Google Forms to help me collect all my data. So you see some of the demographic questions, you see my central questions on design, and my central questions on evaluating common functions. So the maps and the tours and the exhibits and display guides equipped in each app. Also having them rank their favorite features and to rank their favorite app overall. So the following is a few tables that I've put together from the survey results that I've gathered so far. All of my data from this survey goes into a spreadsheet that I've started to go through testers' answers. So I've put together these tables that have each app and have started tallying number of responses in which feature and which app they rank as the best, and I've chosen representative statements from my interviews to illustrate the data, and I'll fill more of these representative statements in as I conduct the rest of my interviews. So, and this is another question and more feedback. The testers' feedback so far has pretty clearly told me why testers prefer one app's features over another. In some cases, it's usability, in some cases, it's design, and in other cases, it's just personal preference or personal interest in the content on the app. And once I receive all my feedback, I hope to go through and pick out those specific usability and design elements that testers use to explain why they thought one feature was better than another in order to compile a definitive list. So through this data, I'm starting to see which apps are ranked as favorites in terms of how well they present their features and also overall. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the final tallies shake out. So moving forward, I need to finish my user surveys. I need at least 4 more testers. I would like more than that. I would like to end up in the 10 to 15 tester range. Then after I get all the data, I want to go through and evaluate it to really pull out the meaning of the data. Also, to illustrate all of the feedback I'm getting, I'm going to continue creating and adding to those data tables, and I hope to graph some of the data that I've gotten so to visualize some of the feedback that I've gotten. And then to cap it all off, I plan on combining the data and the evaluation that I'm going to do into a final case study report. Probably by using some sort of interactive PDF or maybe some sort of presentation, so the data and evaluation are presented in some sort of dynamic way. And this is what I've done so far and how I plan on moving forward with the rest of this project.